JD here, founder and owner of weekendpublisher.com, where we help self-published authors like you feel less overwhelmed with marketing your books through coaching and help you focus on the strategies and tactics that actually work today to help you connect your book with more readers. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the big change that Amazon recently made with their category system. I'm going to talk about what are the good things, what are the bad things about it, my initial thoughts, how to upload them, and a little bit on the strategy of picking those categories. So initial bad things. I know there's been a lot of authors sort of, whenever there's a major change with Amazon, especially quiet changes like this, where they're just like, oh, hey, we make this change and it's starting tomorrow. A lot of authors, start panicking. But let's talk about the bad things and then I'll get into the good things. Let's first of all cover what happened. What happened is initially in the back end of your KDP dashboard, when you're uploading your book, you got to choose 2 categories. And now these were BISAC categories and they weren't the complete list. So you were able to get into up to 10. And there was sort of like a secret for doing that. And you could find different categories that weren't in that list in the initial 2 when you were uploading your book. And the authors who knew it had sort of like had an advantage. And I had a video on this, and it was my most popular video on this channel, and it's no longer any good. But that was what it used to be. Now we can only do up to 3 categories. So what is the bad about this? The bad is you'll get potentially less exposure. So you won't get into, with only being in 3 categories, you won't get potential exposure in up to 10 categories. So this could potentially, if you're not strategic in how you select your categories, this could hurt your chances to get hot new release, to get into the top 100, get in the top 50, 20, 10 of those categories. That's the one bad thing. But this, in my opinion, there's much more good than bad. So what are the good things? The good things are that it's going to clean up the wild west of what is categories. So what happened was a lot of people would pick. Now, Amazon in the past couple months and year has been clamping down on this already, but people would pick like categories that don't fit their book at all, like to get bestseller status. So it really watered down like the Amazon, oh, I'm an Amazon bestseller. It's like, the people who know, it's not really all that impressive. It's like, okay, you might have cheated the system. Like for an example, you could put your fantasy book in miming for theater, where you only need, that's not a very competitive category. Like you need 1 book to get to number 1. And, depending on, who gets that email from Amazon, they might just be like, oh yeah, this fantasy book probably has a mime in it or something. And they'll just put it in there. You make 2 sales in a day, boom, your bestseller. So it cleans up that whole Wild West. Another advantage is, and it's sort of a small advantage, but I've noticed since making these changes, I'm assuming the Amazon staff is less busy. So I'm getting my books approved much quicker. Actually uploading them and putting them to Amazon, the past couple of months, it's been like really close to that 72 hours. Just uploaded a book recently, took 2 or 3 hours. So I've been noticing that with my coaching clients as well in this past week or 2, that we have been getting those approved faster. Another advantage is that there'll be, I did talk about a disadvantage, but the one big advantage is that there'll be less people trying to cheat the system. So you'll really be, in a category that really fits your book. I hear from a lot of my coaching clients that, like romance is just in everything. And it just seeps into everything. There's so many romance books. I go to, science fiction First Contact, and it's nothing but romance books. So it's going to improve the user experience, and it's also going to improve, you being able to actually select the categories and be really strategic about it. So in those categories, each category will become less competitive because each book will be in less categories. So each category will become less competitive. So if you're really strategic about it, and that's what I do with my coaching clients is, we really be strategic about, okay, we really want to get hot new release in the first 30 days. So we're going to pick, this combination of 3 categories. And of course, you want to make sure that categories are actually relevant to your book, but there is still some strategy to it. So those are some downfalls and mostly upfalls. Is that a word? No, but good things that have come from this. So let's get into actually how to upload your 3 categories now. So to upload them, what you want to do is because there's 3 parts to upload in a book, and this will be the same for ebook or paperback or hardcover. There'll be 3 sections. There'll be the details, the content, and the pricing. So where we find it is in the details. So if we scroll down here, you'll notice this category section here. Before you're able to actually upload or change the categories, you have to answer this question here. Is it adult only content? In this case, it is not. So we adjusted it appropriately here. So primary marketplace, for most people, it's going to be Amazon.com. Now to actually upload your categories, so to do your categories, this is where you could only pick the 2 BISAC categories. And you only had a limited 30% of really what was actually available to us. Now we have the full gambit. We have 100% of the categories that are available to us here. So you can see these are the categories that this book is currently in. So if we just go to edit the categories, I will delete these, remove, and this is what it looks like when you're starting right from the beginning. Now, some people will just pick general here and then add another category. Kindle ebooks general, that is probably the mother of all categories. I would not recommend going with that one. So don't pick one of these here. What you want to do is you want to go as deep into the categories as possible. So in this case, I forget even what they were, but let's say literature and fiction. We're going to go women's fiction, and then there's even more subcategories. This one's not a mystery, thriller, or suspense, but we're going to pick here, and then we're going to pick religious. So we see 1 of 3 category placements selected. Then we go down here, add another category, and we do the same thing. Literature and fiction. Let's go women's fiction again, and let's say this is a action adventure. And you would repeat that 1 more time to actually get your 3 categories. Now, a lot of books that are out there that have 10 categories, currently, I've been looking as of this morning, they are still in all 10 categories, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Amazon is going to change everyone down to 2 or 3 categories over the next couple weeks or months. To what they feel is best, and that might not be what is best for your book. So even if you have those 10 categories still, I would recommend going into here and changing your categories. So the last one here, we'll just pick just something like a romance, inspirational, Amish, or general. No, Christian, we'll go general, and then you save the categories. And they won't actually save until you hit save and continue. Then you go save and continue again, save and continue again. So you go through all 3 pages here, and then it will take however long it takes for Amazon to actually approve it. Typically, in my experience, it's been somewhere between 12 and 24 hours. But that's how you upload categories using the new system. Overall, again, I think it is better. Now, in terms of basic strategy for picking your categories, I do recommend, especially starting out, like in the first, let's say 30 days when you're eligible to hit hot new release. This is Publisher Rocket, which I've done a video, and I'll put a card up top reviewing it. And I'll put a link down below. It is an affiliate link, so I do get a couple bucks if you do purchase it with no additional cost to you. But in terms of strategy to actually find your categories, this is what I recommend. It is still very, very powerful because it is, especially for categories and keywords, those are the 2 main modules that I use. But if we're looking here, if we're looking at, let's say, women's fiction, you you could take a look through here and you could sort it by sales to number 10 to get a rough idea of how competitive those categories are. So this is every category that has the term women's fiction in. So we can look here and say religion and spirituality, religious fiction, women's fiction. Oh, you know what? You only need 6 sales a day to get to number 10. Okay, that's definitely achievable. Hot new release, within the first 30 days, we don't know exactly how many because there's, new releases every day. So we don't know exactly how many sales it would take to get to hot new release, but this would be a good way to really identify what categories you want to pick. Of course, you want them to be really, really relevant to your book. And you want to answer, you can even look at the insights to look at other books that are in there. Again, that's, the first contact, and then it's filled with romance. Hopefully it will start being cleaned up. This religious fiction, women's fiction, who knows? I haven't looked at it recently, but it's probably have romance seeping over to that as well. But in terms of strategy, what I'd recommend is finding 3 ideal circumstance is finding 3 and breaking it down by 1 that is very, very competitive. But, there's sort of a double-edged sword here where, yes, it is competitive, but we know that there's a lot of readers in that space. So I would choose, in this case, let's say, women's fiction contemporary, and the other 2, I would find something with a little bit lower competition. So for an example, maybe this women's religious fiction, maybe that is applicable to the book, and maybe action adventure, where the sales are a little bit lower as well. And you could find that quite easily using Publisher Rocket. Again, there's a link down below. So that is what I'd recommend in terms of strategy when picking your category. So there you have it. Those are the big changes from Amazon as of June 2023. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the changes. Overall, I think it's actually a good thing. If you'd like to know more about the coaching, it's weekendpublisher.com/coaching. If you'd like to be coached by me and my team to feel less overwhelmed and to reach more readers and focus on the tactics and strategies to be able to do so. I'll see you in the next video.